Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lipsy and we're back for another day of 31 days of Spooktober. I hope you're enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying it anyway. So let's settle down, get yourself a nice hot drink, put your feet up, relax, and let's enjoy this video. So today we're going to be talking about Plas Newydd. Now, Plas Newydd was a little 5-bedroom stone cottage, and it became known because of the ladies of Llangollen. Now don't worry if you don't know anything about them, I'm going to totally get you up to speed on them in a few minutes. Now Plas Newydd means new hall or new mansion. So this is because they actually expanded on the cottage that they bought. You know, they made the whole place a completely magical new getaway. And the history of the ladies of Llangollen is actually close to my heart. I really enjoy it, and I'm glad I get to share with you guys. So let's dive in to Plas Newydd and the ladies of Llangollen. So like I said, it was a 5-room stoned cottage. The ladies bought it after coming over from Ireland, so they decided that they wanted to be a mansion. They wanted to be very gothic, they wanted to make it look as good as they possibly could, and they decided to put a lot of bridges over the rivers that went into the area, and they put a lot of stained glass around the house. Now something that's interesting about this house is that it's so patchworky. Everything's been like worked together, so a lot of the wood creations they have in the building are really kind of different. Now basically what they were doing is they were using all wooden things that people had already made. They basically invented upcycling, okay? They were the OGs of upcycling. So who are they? They are the ladies of Llangollen. This is Eleanor Butler and Sarah Paisley. Now these were upper class Irish ladies who lived with their families in Ireland. If you've been guessing so far, you were right. The two ladies were in a relationship. However, this was frowned upon by everybody. It was during the late 18th or early 19th century. So as you can imagine, it was very different for people in those days to see a same-sex couple. Now they actually eloped to Llangollen, and they bought this really lovely house together that ended up being Plas Newydd. They actually left Ireland in an argument with their families because neither of them wanted to marry the people they'd planned on them marrying. They didn't agree with your conventional marriage or the conventional sense of marriage. So they decided they wanted to go their own way and do things differently. They moved to Llangollen and got married as soon as they got there. Now something very quirky about these pair was they would only wear men's clothes. So they would specifically walk around in suits. They didn't want to confine to gender norms, and I think that's so good. They were so ahead of the times, upcycling, being themselves. I mean, we're still not allowed to do that now, are we? So the relationship was scandalised and fascinated by, and they ended up making a lot of famous friends who came to visit them in Plas Newydd, including William Wordsworth. So people have taken it upon themselves to research into their relationship. I don't know why, because you wouldn't do this if it was a straight couple, would you? Basically, people have gone and looked into their relationship and read their diaries to see if they were actually sexually active. Like, it was really important. They were a married couple. And people say, no, it was not a marriage because they were in love with each other. However, it was a Boston marriage. Let's be honest, these two women were in love. They were married, they were happy. We don't need to read their diaries. You wouldn't do this to a man and a woman. You would just let it be. And I get angry about this type of thing, and I know I shouldn't, but their parents grew to tolerate them. Great. We don't need a video on me discussing homophobia, do we? I think we can all tell where I stand. So like I said, William Wordsworth was a friend of theirs, and he wrote a poem for them. So I'm going to read it to you. You're going to have to bear with because I don't speak old times, but I'm going to do my best just for you guys. I hope you appreciate it. A stream to mingle with your favourite D. Along the veil of meditation flows, so styled by those fierce Britons, pleased to see in nature's face the expression of repose. Or haply there some pious hermit chose to live and die the peace of heaven his aims, to whom the wild sequestered religion owes. At this late day its sanctifying name, Glyn Cyfeillgarwch in the Cambrian tongue, in ours the Vale of Friendship. Let this spot be named where, faithful to a low-roofed cot, On Diva's banks, ye have abode so long, sisters in love, a love allowed to climb, even on this earth above the reach of time. Cute, isn't it? So just to dive in, guys, about the haunted stuff that goes on in Plas Newydd. So Spirit Quest Paranormal Investigation team went there and they claimed that they met Sarah and Eleanor. Now they said that Sarah, when they were doing a seance, it was an old Victorian style seance, and they said that Sarah actually came along and shook the table. They said it wasn't too strong, but it was enough for them to know that she was there. But then Eleanor had other plans. She came along and she was spinning the table around. It was going like crazy. It was on one leg and everything. And they said it was actually possible that like Eleanor and Sarah found it funny to mess with them, so they would just kind of wind them up as much as they could. It said that the security guard that works there, she was a complete skeptic, and if you look on the internet, she actually talks about how it's complete rubbish and there's no ghosts there. But she has said that when she worked there, the security guard alarms would go off all the time and she didn't know why. But in the end, she got so used to it, she would just go and find where the alarm was coming from, suss it out, check there's nobody there, and go back to her office. Now it said there's also a young boy and an old lady there. We don't know who they are, why they're there, but they are there, and they seem to be hanging around the place just like Sarah and Eleanor. Now it said there are sudden cold spots, grabbing invisible hands, and echoing footsteps throughout the whole of the house. And they're said to be an aggressive military man. Now I don't know who he is, whether he's just somebody who happens to be homophobic that lives there. That seems very likely to me. I think that he was somebody that visited there and he's ended up staying to kind of put his point across about how he thinks that lesbianism is wrong. When you walk into the house, you're apparently meant to feel so heavily oppressed that you want to leave. Makes sense with the background. And Dr. Mary Gordon actually wrote about her experience. She went there, it was the 1930s, and she was said to have had a conversation with Sarah and Eleanor in the winter. So it was snowing, she was outside, she bumped into them, and there was kind of a thin veil over them, but she could see that it was definitely them. She ended up having a conversation with them, and she just spoke about things in general, and she wrote about this in her book, The Flight of the Wild Goose. And it's also said, guys, that every Christmas Eve, Sarah and Eleanor turn up because they loved Christmas, but they can only be seen by men. How weird is that? Like, they can only be seen by men. Women have never seen them, other than Dr. Mary Gordon, obviously. I love that, guys. I think it's so cool that we have these people from history that belong in the LGBTQ+ community. The more we talk about it, the more publicity it gets, and they deserve publicity. They were treated so badly in those days just being who they were, and that's disgusting, and nobody can disagree with that. Nobody can think that homophobia is right. Nobody can be against people because of who they want or who they are. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed the background of this one. I didn't think I was a history person, but since I've been doing this, I'm so into it. It's absolutely crazy. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know in the comments below. As always, guys, leave a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please go and subscribe to my channel. I upload every day of October, and hit that notification bell if you haven't, just so you can get notified every single time that I upload onto this channel. Thank you so much, guys. Remember, never let anyone dull your sparkle.
It's not for me to say.